Back, and today Leroy is brought to us by FanDuel Sportsbook. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay red hot on FanDuel. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right now. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on literally anything, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. What's up, Leroy?
You know that's got to pain our friend Leroy Hoard that right now the Browns are a passing team, Leroy. They can't run the ball. They're a passing team.
Hey, you know why I ain't going to never be upset about that?
Because they're winning.
Because they scored 36 damn points.
That's right.
Okay?
Yeah.
With that defense, 36 points will win you a Super Bowl.
You're damn right. We were just talking. Go ahead.
So it's not that, but here's, and I always make it a point to say this, okay? You're looking at the amount of yards. Even with all those passing yards, they had 30 carries. So if you can still be not necessarily one-dimensional, even though you're having success doing one over the other, but still be able to run the ball, that means you're controlling the defense. And so that's where I kind of lean towards that. Am I upset they're having success throwing the football? No. The only time I get upset is when they have 15 to 20 carries, averaging 5 or 6 yards a carry, and then they try to throw it.
That's fair.
But if it's like this, so that means that anytime it was like a 3rd and 2 or something like that, and they needed to run the football, they were able to do it. That's dominating a defense. You run it when you want to or when you need to, and all the other stuff is just a successful offense work. Because I got to tell you, like, I don't know what the hell defense they was playing on the other side. Can somebody cover Amari Cooper? Because here's the kicker. Ty, if you're preparing for Amari Cooper, what's the one thing you're going to say? He ain't going to run away from you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
11 catches for 265? With a guy that can't run away from you?
24-1 on the average at that.
Yeah.
The funny part
like,
is he not a blazer. Even when he caught the bomb, the dude still almost caught him at the end. Number 5 still almost walked him. So he's not fast.
But that's the thing. And we, like I said, we had this before. We don't give these guys enough credit. And I said when they signed Amari Cooper, he might have been one of the best things ever happened because he is the epitome of playing that position well as far as running routes, being where you need to be, and catching the damn ball. And we saw this with Anquan Boldin, who would always be in double coverage and catch the ball, and we say, oh, he's not a burner, we can't pay him. Right? This guy is good at what he does. I don't care who's covering him. And it's amazing to watch because, Ty, I'm watching it too and going, how in the hell is he this wide open and can't run away from nobody?
Technician.
Leroy, you want to hear a crazy stat about Amari Cooper running away from people?
What's that?
This season, according to Next Gen Stats from the NFL, he is second in the NFL on go routes, on yards gained on go routes, behind
why?
Tyreek Hill.
You know why? Because I'm going to tell you why. Because they sitting on everything.
Yeah.
You remember, like, during the course of the year, I'd send this tweet out all the time. If y'all don't pressure the back end of that defense, they are squatting on everything, and you're gonna get picked. And it happened 2 games ago with Joe, right? They was sitting on everything. He was throwing it in the crowd. Then they opened it up a little bit. Like, you don't have to have a burner to stretch the field, but use one of them fast guys who can't catch. They gonna cover him.
Oh yeah, Marquise can catch, but that was the thing.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing. That the reason I was glad that they put this on tape because now for moving forward, now DBs is like, oh, well, he can go deep for sure. But Amari Cooper is special because Amari Cooper does that thing where he comes out, he makes every route look the same. So you really can't, you never know what it was. So if I was playing Amari Cooper, my thing is, I'm going to come out in the game before last week was he ain't going to go deep. He might run the bang eight or something like that, but it ain't nothing deep. So I don't have to worry about getting on my horse. And I was glad that they put it out there like, no, he can still beat you deep. And that's why that's why he was so effective in this game. I was shocked that they didn't start doubling this man. I was like, what is going on?
But Ty, I'm gonna tell you this. As a guy who played in the slot a lot and got doubled, I only ran the route against one dude. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but defenses think they doubling the guy. And the only way you could really double a guy is if you know the route he running.
Mm-hmm.
So if he run a go route, then you can do something short and deep, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if he running something like a slant or he running something like a bang 8 or something like that, right? It's hard to double him because y'all stacked. And so it don't matter to me if they double him, right? It like there's certain situations where you're gonna get got, right? Where they're gonna be in the right position. But for the most part, you just run your route off of your one guy. The other guy just gonna get in the way.
Well, yeah, Leroy. I mean, you think about the last couple of weeks. What has been Joe Flacco's and Amari Cooper's favorite route? The bang 8. They run that. Right. He runs that post, that little skinny post. As soon as he come out his break, he throw it to him. So,
and even if that deep guy is sitting on it, he catch it before he can get down there.
And what they were doing was they were like, okay, we know that's his favorite route. We know Amari Cooper's his number one target. Let's just give him an inside piece. Let's make that safety play inside to take that away.
Sit on it, and then he went straight up.
He went deeper, and that's why he got beat. That first play, instead of running a bang 8, he ran an actual post and got behind both of them. That's what happened.
Right, but that's the ebbs and flow of a football game, right? So what I'm more impressed with is how these two guys this quick have been on the same page so well this quick, right? Like that's amazing. That's these things you discuss in the offseason during camp. Hey, if he do this, I want you to kind of just make it a post instead of a bang 8, right? Like these are things you talk, how they picking this up so quickly and how these two guys, and there's something to be said about two veteran guys because it's one of those things where, I used to have this with Bernie. He didn't have to, he just turned around and look, I got you, right? He probably give Amari that look. Okay, you see that safety there. We just going to skinny it up, right? Like, it's amazing to watch. And it's also, if you a Texan, you can't tell me that somebody wasn't frustrated on them sidelines going, 265 yards, right? 11 catches. Anybody going to cover him? So it was impressive to watch, but what made this game that much more impressive, that we've been watching the Browns all year, and one of the things that have plagued them, and one of the things why Joe has had to be so great in the fourth quarter is because they lazily go into these games. They haven't jumped on anybody. So the fact that they got after it right away was one of the most impressive things, is that this was the first time where the Browns start to finish pretty much dominated.
Leroy, when Nick Chubb went down, a lot of people felt like the Browns running game would be okay, that, Jerome Ford would show what he can do and that he would show that he was the future running back of this organization. I think dude has been very I haven't been impressed by him. When are we going to start seeing more Pierre Strong?
When he gets more patient, right? See, it's one thing to have speed. It's one thing to have explosiveness. But you got to learn how to use that on a football field. The thing about Nick Chubb is Nick Chubb runs the ball in little bursts, right? You see him and he's kind of booming in a burst, right? That's what makes Nick Chubb special. And then he has that acceleration to go, right? Jerome Ford has that. Not to the level of Nick Chubb, but he possesses a skill set that a lot of running backs don't have, and that's that top-end speed. But if you don't use it right, you can't tell. So if he just run up in the line of scrimmage real fast without, being patient, reading blocks and anticipating stuff like that, it looks like his skill set is the same as any other back who can't play, right? We know he possesses this skill. We know he possesses this speed, but it's how he uses it and how he's patient when using it. That's the thing he has to learn how to pick up on. And I'm going to tell you, when I learned, I learned when I couldn't run so damn fast. Because then I had to figure out another way to play football. And that's usually what happens.
I was going to ask you, like, is that something that comes over the course of your career? You know, you talked about this last week when you was on this show, and the first person I thought about was Le'Veon Bell. How patient Le'Veon Bell used to run the football. And I seen him become more patient the further his career got on. So do you think that's going to happen with Jerome Ford?
You start learning blocking schemes. You start learning, and then you lose a little bit of your skill set. Okay? I tell people running back is like a roller coaster. People don't realize that when you take that initial drop on those old school roller coasters, that is the fastest you go, right? The turns get tighter, so it gives the appearance that you're going faster, but you're not really going faster. When you play running back, as your skill set diminishes, you become better at all the other parts of it, whether it's reading defenses, anticipating blocks, you know, being able to look at the flow of a defense, whether it's with the cutback or stuff like that, and you become more patient because you realize I got one burst here, right? I'm not going to outrun these guys. And you start using all these tools together, and you become more of a natural runner. And I think that's what happens. I mean, Le'Veon Bell, when he first got into the league, he just get it and go because he was a big boy. You couldn't bring him down. As he started getting banged up, you notice he started getting patient, almost like stopping.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Yeah.
And just letting things play out a little bit so he could use that acceleration. So I think that's one of the things that young guys have to learn. And in fact, you see this more than anything. A guy come into the league as a burner and he lights it up. And then 5 years from now, he playing on 3 different teams and can't play. It's because he never had to learn the true skill of playing the position. He never had to learn, okay, let me give my left guard a chance to set this up a little bit. Let me give my tackle and my guard a chance to get up on that second level. Because you always had the ability to just be over athletic and out athletic everybody, out athlete everybody. When that goes away, you have to find other ways to be successful. And that's for everybody in the NFL. You ain't the same player when you 30 as you were when you were 23. You just not. But how can guys play that long? How can receivers become better route runners, right? Better at reading defenses. So that means that fast guy running across the middle, as he gets older, he realizes, okay, it's zone. Let me sit. You know, this is with every position, offensive lineman, defensive lineman. It happens with everybody. You know, you're going to see it with Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons, he's just out-athleting everybody on the outside of the line of scrimmage. As his career moves on, he's going to be better with his hands. He's going to be better with the spin moves. He's going to be a better tactician at that position. And so I know Jerome Ford is an excellent runner, right? But I need him to learn the craft of playing running back. And he'll make the offensive line look better. He'll look better just with a little bit of patience because he can be more patient than most because his explosiveness and his burst might be a little greater than some of the other guys. He might have a quicker burst than Nick Chubb. But he don't look like a better running back than Nick Chubb because Nick Chubb knows when to use it.
Not even close. Hey, Leroy.
Right.
One guy who's really developed this year and taken his game to, I hate to use the cliche, but I will, another level, that's David Njoku. He might get 900 yards this year, which would, for a tight end.
I've already said he's going to make his first Pro Bowl.
Yeah, he's going to make the Pro Bowl. He's got a career-high 6 touchdowns, a career-high 750 yards. What are you seeing in his game? What has taken him from kind of a decent tight end to a very good tight end this year?
Quarterback.
It's just the quarterback, huh?
It has a lot. It has a lot to do with that. That some quarterbacks really like using the tight end, and basically you've empowered him to be a better player. He knows that he's an integral part of the offense. So how he goes about what he does is different than it's been all year because he know he's gonna get the rock. Right?
That's fair.
And when he catches it, who gonna stop him?
Yeah, he's tough.
right? So it's something to be on that field and go, I'm a bad man, right? It's amazing. And he looks confident out there.
He does.
Right?
Great point.
So a lot of it has to do with quarterback. A lot of it has to do with now you've been put in a position where the team is counting on you to make big plays, right? And it feels good. It feels good to be that guy on the football field that you're not just a player. Your team is relying on you to have success. And I think that's what's taken him to that next level is now there's some expectations with how you going to play. You know now you ain't going to be running around that secondary a whole game and have 2 catches.
Leroy,
great point.
It was a big topic debate today.
Yeah.
And I just need to know where you stand. I think the question was something about is it who's more important?
The question is,
You can tell, Bull. Yeah, you go.
who would be a bigger loss?
Okay.
As crazy as this question would have been before the season, it's a legitimate question now. Who would be a bigger loss in terms of the Browns' chances of winning a Super Bowl this year? Joe Flacco or Myles Garrett?
Myles Garrett.
Okay.
You know why?
Ooh.
You know why?
Boy, tell him, Leroy.
I can drop Myles Garrett off by helicopter and he could dominate a game. Joe Flacco still got to depend on 5-6 other guys.
I get what you're saying, Leroy, but Earl and I, our argument was...
You can give me whatever argument you want.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, hey, we won't tell you why you screwed up your argument.
I'm an offensive guy.
Yeah.
I'm an offensive guy. And it took me about 1.2 seconds to think that one out.
But
guess what? Wait. Let's put it this way.
Go ahead.
How many quarterbacks have they played with this year?
Leroy.
Four.
How many Myles Garrett they played with?
They played with one. Leroy.
What you're talking about, Leroy?
You're telling me. Wait a second.
This is a beautiful moment where Michigan and Ohio State are on the same side.
That's what I'm talking about.
Leroy.
Oh, hell yeah.
Leroy, you think they could win a Super Bowl with P.J. Walker or DTR right now with no running game?
That defense is playing right now? Yes.
Thank you, Leroy. This man is smart.
The final score might be 7-3, but I know I got a damn chance.
Thank you. Thank you, Leroy. I appreciate it.
Leroy, what you're missing?
Hey.
What you're missing, Leroy, is in Tyvis's argument.
No, say it how I said it. Say it how I said it. Please say it how I said it.
Hold on.
So let me get this straight. What I'm starting to hear right now is maybe I didn't get the whole Tyvis argument.
That's exactly what happened.
No.
No.
What you said is exactly what I said.
No. This is what he said, Leroy.
You got it, Earl. You got it.
This is what he said.
Say it how I said it.
He made his argument. He had a lot of facts for his argument for Myles Garrett. But then he came out and said the only difference between Phillip and Flacco was the touchdowns. Like he said it to
that was nothing.
Like it was nothing. Like Phillip, whatever Walker, he just walk in there. You gotta be calling this man Phillip.
That's his name.
He could just walk in there and do what Flacco was doing.
Here, let me say this. There is nobody, including Deshaun, that has shown they could do what Flacco is doing. Because none of them have gone down the field as accurately as Joe Flacco. So before we even go there, what we are witnessing from this dude is something we haven't seen with the Browns all year.
That's right.
That's why I look crazy.
That's
a fact.
Yeah.
That being said, here's the thing that comes with Joe Flacco. Turnovers. And this game don't even count because it was like end of the half or something.
Yeah.
He just chucked it up. So I'm not even counting. But he's got 10 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. And I tell people this. If you ain't watching them games, those numbers don't do it justice.
That's true.
If you don't see what that man is doing, you ain't seeing the whole picture. That being said, this right here, that last stat right there, that's going to be the end of the Browns. Can't be -7, and then go to the elite and play against the elite teams, right? That's a fact. But that has nothing. That is a football fact. You can't be -7. Okay. Now, one of the things that the other guys did that Joe Flacco just don't care. Okay, they wasn't taking a whole bunch of chances, so the offense looked stagnant because they wasn't slinging it around like Joe Flacco. If they had the confidence to do it, I think they have the skill set to sling it down the field. I don't know if they're going to be as good as Joe Flacco, but Joe Flacco came in and said, hey, I got a new life. I'm throwing it. Right?
He did.
And good or bad, this might be the first quarterback in the history of quarterbacks that we go, wow, 7 touchdowns and 5 picks. All right, whatever.
You're right.
Right. And you know what I'm saying, right?
Yep.
You understand that.
Yeah.
Like, well, whatever. All right, we got it. You see, and that's the thing that makes it. Your offense is going to be different. You're not going to score 36 points, right? But at the same time, I don't know if you have the 7 interceptions because they ain't taking those chances.
Yeah, but
Joe
P.J.
Flacco
Walker had all those interceptions. He did.
Without the touchdown.
Without the touchdown.
And that's why they went and got Joe Flacco's
That's
ass.
right. That's right.
So let's but I'm gonna say this. We can say what we want about Kevin Stefanski. If he don't get some serious consideration for Coach of the Year,
Yeah.
then they ain't been paying attention. Because he done been through 4 quarterbacks, 4 different game plans for each of those quarterbacks, and they are still in the playoffs? Man, that's phenomenal coaching. When you say you put your team in the best position to win, I know we've criticized him. I have too, about not running the football or, making some decisions that I maybe question. I can't question it. I can't. The guy knows what he's doing. And so from that standpoint, to see the success they're having, now, we had this conversation a few weeks ago that one of the reasons why he's probably having more success right now is because you eliminated the skill set from the quarterback. Right?
Right.
Ain't no more RPOs. Joe ain't running. So your offense is a little different, but maybe it fits Kevin Stefanski's game plan a little bit better. You see what I mean?
Yep.
So, but to your point, Bull,
Yeah.
you are 100% wrong, my brother.
About what?
It is Myles Garrett.
Thank you. Leroy, you have been
guess what?
fantastic today.
We've had 4 quarterbacks. We've had 1 Myles Garrett.
I said the same. Boy, you sound just like this dude I know. You sound just like this dude I know.
I gotta be careful because I don't know if I trust that you said the same thing because everybody seen the
Did I not say this?
He did say that.
Okay.
He did say it.
I mean, what you said,
Now,
the other thing you said was
look,
crazy, but.
It's coming, him saying it as a defensive guy, all right? You got to kind of grade it accordingly.
Yeah.
Me saying it as an offensive guy, but what I'm saying is, me saying it as an offensive guy, and I'm just going right to the defensive guy. Yeah, that's no.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
But
That's hard to do.
in the end, I would argue, Leroy, that take out Deshaun because he's not playing. He's not an option.
Okay.
P.J. Walker and DTR. First of all, we just got a text from Jason who said DTR's on crutches in the locker room.
Yeah,
So-
everyone tweeted
From
that
what?
too.
What's that?
From what?
He got hurt in the Chicago game and it got re-aggravated
I don't know.
against
The
Houston.
guy weighs like 112 pounds, Leroy.
No, but I mean, I'm like, me
He
sitting
played
there
a
praising
little.
Joe Flacco, and then the other guy got hurt.
Well, but DTR played like 3-4 plays in this game. I don't know. They must have taken a hit or something. But like
Listen.
P.J. Walker is maybe the worst quarterback in football. If they had a decent backup at this point, then I'd agree with you guys on Myles Garrett. But I don't think they do.
Can I just say this?
Yeah.
Here's what makes what Kevin Stefanski doing so awesome.
Yeah.
In most cases, you are in trouble if you have to use your backup quarterback.
That's 100% true.
And so for us to sit here and question the quality of the backup quarterback is crazy in itself.
That's true. That's all fair.
You see what I'm saying? So
I agree.
It's like soon as your starting quarterback get hurt, it's like when Chad Henne came into the game a couple of years ago and led them on a drive to win the game. I'm like, boy, everybody thank you. Because I know when they sit him in the game, they go, well, he ain't no Patrick Mahomes.
Nope.
Right? So like there's teams all over the league saying we should have got a better backup quarterback. And what? You spend your money on guys on the field.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's where the money got to go.
Leroy, last thing real quick. What's the deal with Jalen Waddle? How big a deal if he can't go?
If he can't go but Tyreek can, you still good. You just need one of the – there's so much speed on that team, right? They don't do it as well. But keep in mind, Jalen Waddle's Robin.
Yeah.
Batman is Tyreek Hill. So you can find another Robin. I mean, even Batman used Catwoman every now and then, right?
Who's
see what I'm saying?
Robbie Chosen?
But guess what? Batman was always there.
That's true.
So as long as Tyreek playing, right, they should be okay. Now, I will say this. One of the things that the Dolphins have done, they're real cautious with injuries, right? They're thinking big picture. So they have so much speed on that team that there's other guys that can come in and kind of fill that role of number two. More importantly, you remember Jalen Waddle had to be number one when Tyreek was out.
Yep.
So if he don't have to be number one and Tyreek is playing, I think they can be okay, even though, you know, they might be able to roll some additional coverages over towards Tyreek, but they still got a lot of speed out there. I mean, I've never seen that much speed at the skill positions. I mean, they got 2 wide receivers and 2 running backs. They can run a 4x1.
Leroy,
that's not exaggerating.
They sleeping on that wide receiver y'all got down there, Cedric Wilson. That used to play for the Cowboys.
Yeah,
they sleeping on that dude.
But look, he's the biggest wide receiver they got, other than, you know, they got Chase Claypool, who ain't touched the field yet.
He's a bum.
Right. I don't know, man. Like, I just think, I mean, I'm going to put on my coaching hat for a second, and they get down to the 5-yard line and throw a fade to Tyreek Hill, and you got Chase Claypool. Yeah. I'm like, hey, throw it up to him. That's what he's here for, you know? So, but again, it's another situation when you watch that offense go and you watch some of the things they do. They have struggled in the red zone for that reason. Either they give up on the run or they have all these ants running routes near the end zone. You need a big boy. You know, everybody got that big boy that just, we can throw it up to him and he'll go get it. And I'm just wondering, you know, Chase Claypool is not a break in case of emergency. You got to break it and see what we got because, you know, you don't know what he's going to be.
Leroy, great stuff, man. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We'll talk to you next week.
Happy New Year. We'll talk to you next week, hopefully after another victory. And,
That's
man,
right.
This has been fun.
Fun
This
season.
has been fun.
Damn.
Yep.
Thanks, Leroy.
Thanks, Leroy.
All righty.
We'll see you later.
Couple
Leroy,